What's up, guys? Welcome back to Fish Over Chicks Woodworking. My name is Peter, and today we are going over a couple low-cost, high-profit projects that I've been making recently, and I want to show you guys what they are, how much I sell them for, and how to make them. So let's get into it. Before we get into it today, we're going to talk about this video's sponsor, Magidome. Magidome sells galvanized geodesic dome connectors that fit 25 equal length 2x2s and 2x4s. The best part about this project is all you have to do is pre-drill your lumber, bolt together the carriage bolts, and then you've got something magical. So what would you use a Magidome for? Well, they're great for small greenhouses, camping yurts, trellises, and they're really just an amazing addition to any garden party. I mean, look at this thing. It's freaking sick. Imagine having one of these in your yard. Each lumber is equal length, so there's no fancy math or angles involved. It's really a DIY dream, and it can be built in just one afternoon. We've got all those links down in the description. Guys, go check out Magidome, show them some love, pick up a dome connector if you want to build it. These sponsors are what keeps the channel going, so go support them, and it would mean a lot to us. But back to the video. So guys, the first project we're going to build requires some scrap wood. This is just a scrap piece of 1/2-inch plywood that I was going to use for something else, but I didn't. So it is 7.5 inches wide. It's like 15 inches long. The length doesn't really matter. And what this is, we're building a nice little phone stand, but we're building a more fancy version of it. So you're just gonna place your phone on top there, and then what we're gonna do is trace your phone. Try to make sure that you have it centered on that piece. It doesn't really matter, but we're just gonna go ahead and trace that. Alright, so now that you've got your phone traced on there, what we're going to do is actually cut on the outside of the line. Usually when I'm using my jigsaw and I'm cutting on lines, I like to cut on the inside. But because we want this space to be cut out and we want it to be a little bit wider than the phone itself, for a little bit of wiggle room, we're going to cut on the outside of that line. So that's very important to know when we go to the jigsaw. So we're going to take the jigsaw now, cut on the outside, and then we'll go to the next step. Alright, so now you got that cut out, go ahead and slide your phone in there. See, got a little bit of wiggle room in there, so that's perfect. That's what we want. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and cut this piece off. Use this piece for the other part of the project, but we're going to go ahead, cut this piece off. On this side, we've got about 1.5 inches. We're going to do about 1.5 inches on this side as well. Alright, so now that you've got that cut out, we're going to go ahead and take the other piece, and we're just going to put them together like this, line it up, and then we're going to go ahead and mark off where we want to cut this piece off there. So now we're going to go ahead and cut that piece. Alright, so now that you've got that back piece cut out too, that's what it's going to look like. So you can go ahead and just throw your phone in there like that. Obviously, it's a little bit deep, so we're going to make a little thumb hole here so you can pull it out like that, and you're not going to have to tip it. So let's go ahead do that. What I think we're going to do is grab a 1 1/8 inch Forstner bit. I want the circle to be about a half circle. So we're going to make a little dot right above the edge there, and that's where we'll end up placing the bit. That way we can get that nice cut. So it can get a little hairy with Forstner bits and plywood, so we made sure to clamp the heck out of this. So we've got a clamp here, which is getting our workpiece, a scrap piece, and the bottom base plate of the drill press. Same on this side, and then what we went ahead and did is just push this down a little bit. So you see we've got the mark there, that's where it's going to start cutting. And we did this with a scrap piece and it works fine. So we're going to hope for the best here. But since you've got it clamped down, should be totally fine. Alright guys, so now we've got that finger hole in there. So you put these together just like that, which is going to be final product. Put it in there, easily get your phone out just through there. So now that we've got that done, before we glue these pieces together, we're going to go ahead and cut a little slit in the middle here so you can charge your phone at the same time. Put your phone down, see where your charging port is, right there, and just make a little slit, cut it with the jigsaw. Now that you've got that cut out there, go ahead, flip it over. Let's get some glue on that sucker. Go ahead, flip that over. Place it right on there. Line it up a little bit, and make sure you have a towel ready to wipe off that excess glue that's building up over here. Once you get that lined up, take a couple clamps and just go ahead and clamp it. And as you can see, there's a little bit of glue building up all around, so go ahead and get that off. Alright, so we've clamped the heck out of it, as you can see. We're going to put this away and let this dry for a couple hours. Then we'll go back to it and we'll finish it up. But while we're doing that, let's get on to the second project. The next project is wall art made out of an actual skateboard. As you see here, this is one of my old skateboards. I don't skateboard, but I just had it. Yeah, let me show you how to make this. Super simple if you have an old skateboard lying around. And if you don't have an old skateboard lying around, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, you can always find an old deck for a couple bucks. Makes it a really cheap project to make, and it's super easy. So as you see here, I'm just making a few 45-degree cuts on the skateboard, then going ahead and putting some glue on there and taping these together. It is end grain, so you're going to want to put a good amount of glue on there, but just go ahead and tape that spine up on the back side, and then on the front side with the grip, go ahead and put a piece of tape to bring those two pieces together, because it is a little bit of an angle when you're cutting the skateboard. Now that you got all glued up, go ahead and let it sit for a couple hours and you'll be all set. So here it is, the final project. Super easy to make, super simple. It only took me like 15 minutes to actually build it and then let it sit for a few hours. There's really not a ton of people selling these, so this would be a great product to hop in the market on, especially on Etsy. I've seen one and they sell it for 100 bucks. You could easily get 50 for this. I sold one of these to my friends actually, and he came up with the price. He was like, how about 50 bucks? I was like, perfect. I think Etsy's a great place. If you want to start making skateboard, heart, and wall art, it's a great place to go, because that market is not saturated at all as far as I can tell. So the next project that we are building is for your laptop. So what we're doing is we went ahead and measured this. So we cut a piece of plywood at 12.5 inches wide by 11 inches long. This is going to be a laptop stand type thing. And then what we did is we got a piece that is 3 inches wide by 12.5 inches long, and we have a 15-degree angle on that edge there. And basically what this is going to be is a laptop stand. Pretty simple, connecting these two pieces here, just like that, and then it'll be able to hold your laptop like this at an angle, so it's nicer to type on. But we've got a few things to do before we get all this together, because we're going to want a piece here which will hold the laptop here, prevent it from sliding down. And then we're also going to put a juice groove type thing at the top so we can hold the pencil like there. So basically juice grooves on a cutting board, just like this. We're going to want that on the top there so it can hold the pencil, because it makes it look a little nicer, a little bit more professional, and you can get a few more dollars for it when you sell it. So let's get to building that. Alright guys, so I've got this router table here that I built a little bit ago. We do have a video on this coming out soon, so stick around for that. But now I've got a makeshift rip fence, which is just a long piece of plywood that I had laying around. So it's a little bit overkill, but you never know, I might need it, so I'm not going to cut it. But basically, I just put that about a ½ inch away from the bit itself, and we're just going to go ahead, put this here, run it through, just like that, and then we're going to raise it up a little bit, run it through again, raise it up a little bit, run it through again. So let's see how this works. Look at that. Not falling out. But easy enough to get out. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. That's fun. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is get this piece connected here. So obviously we can't do pocket holes because we've got this groove in there now. So what we're going to do is super simple. We're just going to flip it over. We're going to go ahead with the 90-degree side, and we're just going to glue it down on that piece just like that. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. We're not going to need to do any screws or anything. The glue should be more than enough to keep this, because nothing heavy will be on this besides a laptop. And that's not heavy enough to break that. Don't really know how we'd even clamp this because it is at an angle and I don't want to screw with it. So we're just going to leave it like this. I don't think it'll be a problem there, but we put a good amount of glue on that. So we're going to let this sit for a while, and now let's head back to the phone stand. All right, so we let this sit for about 2 hours, and now it is good in there. Perfect. So now we just need a stand for it. So what we want to do is we want to have it like this, so you can like use it if you want to watch a movie or something, but also like this, so you can charge it like that. So we're going to do 2 backs on it. We're going to do one down like this, and then one down like this. So obviously in the back there'll always be one that's not on the right side, but that's fine because it's just going on your desk, and it's more versatile that way. Now we're gonna go ahead and sand it, and then we'll get those stands on it. We got this all sanded, and we rounded some of the edges with the sandpaper. We also cut a little piece. This is cut at 3 degrees, it's cut at 45 degrees, and this is gonna be the backstop for it. So that way when it's glued, just like that, it's gonna be leaning backwards, so your phone's not gonna fall out. And then also, if you wanna flip it to the side, it'll still be there, and it'll act as a kickstand back there to hold that up as well. So we're gonna place it where we want it. I'm thinking about 3/4 inch away from the back edge here. I'm gonna do a nice light mark there, trying not to move. That'll do. Because then once we're on this back side, it'll have enough room to tilt back there. So that line there is where we're gonna line it up to glue. We're gonna go ahead and put some glue on the 30-degree side, just like that. And then we're gonna place this down, line it up with that line back there, get everything together there, and push it in, make sure that there is no gaps there. Now we're just gonna put a lot of pressure and keep it there, and we're just gonna flip it just like that. And once it's down, give it one more push of pressure. So now just let that sit for another hour or 2, and then you'll be all done. All right, guys, back to the laptop holder. We've got that groove in there looking nice, and this has been gluing for about 2 hours, so it should be all set. Just put it down. Perfect. Now we need something to actually hold the laptop on. So I have a piece of maple that was in my scrap bin, and it's pretty thin. It's about 3/8 inches wide, which is thinner than the actual laptop bottom. So when this is here, the laptop will come over it just a little bit, which means your hands won't get caught on this when you're trying to type. So basically, just gluing this down, just like we did this piece, but we can use clamps for this one now. All right, so there we've got it. It is gluing there, looks great. Let this sit for another little bit, and we'll come back and see how it looks. So here we have the laptop stand. As you see, this piece is dry here, that maple piece, and when you push this down there, can't go past it, and it's below the actual piece of the laptop there. So when you're working on it, your hands aren't gonna hit it there. And then of course in the back here, we've got that pencil holder right there, just a little fun thing to add there. A few more dollars for that, you know, it's just a cool idea. So this obviously would be painted and or stained since it's plywood. Definitely not going to stain it because I never like the way stain looks on plywood. But go ahead, sand it up nice, paint it. I'd probably paint it black, and I think I am going to paint it black because I'm going to use this in my own room. But you could easily get 30 bucks for this. No problem at all. It's some scraps, nothing crazy. I mean, if you're using nicer wood, if you're using some hardwoods, you definitely charge more. You could charge up to 60, 70 bucks for something that's really nice. Probably less than 2 board feet total, I'd say. So it's not too much wood, not that expensive. Obviously, the nicer wood you use, the more money you could spend. There it is, laptop holder. This is gonna be very useful for me. And if you guys don't want to sell it, you can at least make it for yourself. It's pretty nice. Next, we have the cell phone holder, which is now also glued. We've got that back piece there, which keeps it up like that. Go ahead, place the phone. Perfect, not coming out, and then you could just grab it from the side just like that. You've got that piece down there for charging as well, and we made it so you can also do it like this, and it'll sit just like that, leaning against that back kickstand, and again, just like that, you can watch movies or whatever. But yeah, this is very nice, and I'm definitely going to use this myself. I'm thinking about painting this red because I have a lot of red paint left over. And again, if you're using nicer wood, using some walnut would look really nice with this. You can get more for it. Any of you watching, I'm sure, have scrap pieces that are this big. I mean, it's only, what did I say, 7.5 inches by 5. So really cheap project to make. This you could totally get 25 bucks for or more. I wouldn't sell it for anything less than 25 because it was a little bit of work. You can definitely get at least 25 for this on Etsy. Even Facebook Marketplace is a good place to try to sell stuff like this. So guys, that's gonna do it for the video. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, comment down below any other videos you'd like us to make, but please like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. If you guys want to see some other low cost and high profit woodworking videos, you can click right here for those.